This past Saturday, May the 14th, marked a day of action for those opposed to the Kinder Morgan pipeline expansion project. By now, you're probably familiar with what an anti-oil protest looks like, but this one was a bit different. In an effort to up their impact and effectiveness, this year's protest was the most organized, detailed, and yes, probably the most expensive protest put on by your favorite environmental groups. Not only did 700 people march to the gates of the Kinder Morgan facility in Burnaby, but a number of kayaktivists were also out on the water and surrounded the facility. More on them later. When my cameraman James and I arrived at Westridge Park, the protest was just assembling. I began by asking people why they were there and about the various signs or groups they were there with.
I'm here today because I really believe that we have to keep the fossil fuels in the ground. Our climate is already changing. People around the world are having deserts and not enough rain. California is burning and we're burning. This is a disaster. We need to deal with this.
And as a group of Unitarians that are part of that congregation, we have a lot of interest in what's going on in the world around us. We pay attention to that, and we come out and we try and express our support for the things that we care about. There's a lot of evidence that there's a lot of impact from climate change happening right now in the north. I just read an article this week about the incredible warm front that's covering something like 25% or more.
And I mean, I just wrote an incredible article in Nature magazine that tells that this extra CO2 is actually greening the earth. And I mean, that's Nature magazine, a very, very...
You're so full of shit.
Really? Would you like...
You're a provocateur. Come on.
Would you like to read Nature magazine's report on how the CO2 is greening the earth? It's a very true scientific study.
You're bullshitting.
Of course, as you could guess, Rebel Media and myself are persona non grata at these events. So we had some professional disruptors try to come and put a stop to me, the one reporter who dare challenge any of these noble protesters.
Do you realize that if there were more oil spilled in and around the islands, that Kinder Morgan is denying that...
No, we're Rebel.
This is Sun Media right here. This is Ezra. This is Ezra right here.
So what would you like to...
This is Harper. This is Sun Media.
Sun Media. We're not with the newspaper. We're not with the Sun Media.
Ezra. This is Levant. Ezra Levant.
Yeah, I know. I saw you last week. I want to talk to you then.
Is corrupt. You shouldn't even be here.
Really? Why not?
Because
I'm media.
you're pro-oil.
Yes, I am.
You support the tar sands and the pipelines.
They're the oil sands.
So yeah. So you should go away.
No, because this is a free
No,
country.
see, this is a public space.
This is a public
so
space.
we can stand wherever we want.
Yes, you can, but you can't tell
you.
me to leave.
You can do whatever you want, bud.
Okay, well, let's talk. I want to talk to you. Okay, so tell me exactly.
You're not going to be around here interviewing people because we're going to be here to stop you. Go away, bud. Why are you even here? Why are you here?
Now, I've seen that guy before at previous protests. His name is Kelly Patrick Moore. No relation to the former Greenpeace founder. I know he doesn't like me or the Rebel. You could see how upset my very presence was making this fragile activist.
You're just here to make money? You're just here to make money? I wouldn't push me.
Dude, you want to? That's on camera.
You know, that guy and his tactics weren't even that shocking. Despite the pushing and his desire to get in my face, that isn't the first time, nor is the Rebel the first news network that Kelly has tried to prevent from broadcasting. You see, last year, during the much overhyped oil spill in English Bay, Kelly decided he didn't want to let Global's Chris Galis finish his live report. Here, take a look.
So Romina is here now to talk a little bit more about that. Sir, can I just ask you to move out of the way, please? Thank you very much. Just move out of the way. Romina, if you can't explain who would be responsible.
I'm just trying to do my job, okay? So, as you mentioned, Chris, you have to find responsibility here. So, ultimately, it's supposed to be the owner of the boat who pays. Robin, we're having some...
Yeah, this is obviously going sideways, so we're going to send it back to you in the studio.
Just so goofy and strange. But you know what was far more bizarre? I was given my very own professional activist chaperone. You see, it all started when I was walking across the field and I heard a man on his two-way radio say something along the lines of, "Yeah, I've got the Sun Media guys here, I'm with them now." So naturally, I hear someone talking about me, I'm going to ask them about it.
Yeah, so why were you letting everybody know where I am? Fair question, isn't it? Pretty organized, I guess, if you're worried about dissenting media. We just ask questions, sir. That's all we do. And if you don't have to answer them, but I mean, I heard you talking about me, so I had to ask you. No, nothing to say.
Not much for words, that guy, but he had no problem acting as a handler for just about every protester I talked to, warning them of the evils of tough questions, just while mixing in a few smears citing us as far-right extremists.
I just have one question. I mean, these guys have to get tips before they talk to the media, I suppose.
So it's up to you, but we advise people to ignore them.
I just have one question. The one question is simple. Do you think hydroelectricity is renewable?
I want to answer your question today.
No. Nuclear power?
I want to answer your question today.
So you don't know.
I want to answer your question.
Why not?
I want to answer your question.
You know who these people are, right?
What?
I mean, extreme right there.
It's really no surprise these organizers would be so insecure about our presence at these protests. We know consistently, whether it's oil, a slut walk, or a pro-choice rally, these activists are low information people, short on facts and realism, but full of platitudes and idealism. No place for intellectual discourse, clearly. Just look at this one exchange with someone who literally called every single Albertan clueless, all while blaming the tar sands for the Fort Mac wildfire.
So do you really think it's appropriate to be here today, given Fort McMurray just burned down, and you're kind of dancing on the ashes of their hopes?
Burned down.
Because the fire...
Oil sands, tar sands.
No,
Wake up, buddy.
absolutely incorrect.
Wake up.
Absolutely incorrect.
Wake up, buddy.
But why don't you like Albertans,
We're all
sir?
clueless, obviously.
The irony is delicious. But some good news, as this wasn't all anti-everything all the time at the protest. While I was covering things from the land, I was informed a small counter-protest had formed on the water in the form of a Freedom Navy. As you can see from this tweet from Oil Sands Actions, these guys were out on the water with some signs in support of our industry. Tune in next time as I catch up with one of these young men. For the Rebel.media, and now officially in need of my own chaperone at all anti-oil events, I'm Christopher Wilson.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.